Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Bulma, Android 18 and Caulifla. Huge shout out to 0 years truly 0 for this story. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time let's get into the video. With the Namekian known as Den flying by his side, the Earthling known, Krillin, shot across the skies in flight and towards the home of the Namekian elder, with a look of urgency on his face. Boy, that was a close one. Krillin states. If Vegeta caught up with us back there, then I doubt we'd be able to catch up with this Namekian elder guy. Speaking of which, he glanced at the one flying next to him. How far are we from that place? We're very close, Mr. Krillin, sir. Den replied, forgoing his earlier feeling of fear now that he was far from the monstrous power of the man chasing him and his friend earlier. He then pointed to a really tall mountain with an odd-looking house on it when his eyes spotted it. See? It's right there, up on that mountain. Good thing it's still standing. Krillin noted. But if it stands out this much, then it's only a matter of time till the bad guys. The bald male was cut short, however, when something suddenly appeared in front of him. Yo. Or, rather, someone. Jai. And as for Krillin. Well, he suddenly let out a startled yelp and quickly froze in midair at the sudden shift. What the where the heck did you? He suddenly jumped back and took a fighting stance. Den, get behind me. Whoa there, buddy, chill. Naruto says with his hands raised in a surrendering motion, hoping it'll pacify the easily frightened Baldy. You can relax, I'm not with that Frieza guy messing things up right now. Yeah, right. Krillin tensed his muscles. You're probably saying that to make me get my guard down so that you can strike. Den, what are you still doing there? Mr. Krillin, I think we can trust him. Den states, not feeling as shaky as his friend. He doesn't feel like the people who are attacking our village. Krillin. Naruto snapped his fingers in realization. That's why you're so familiar. You're Goku's friend. He told me about you back when I was helping him bulk up for the whole Saiyan issue a few weeks back. Wait, Krillin blinked. You know Goku. You trained with him. But that's not possible. He was dead and he trained with King Kai. Naruto finished. I mean, sure, being dead is one way to end up on King Kai's planet, but that's not the only way, and I should know seeing as I've been living there since I was 16 and I'm 40. He shook his head. Anyways, that's not the point. Yeah, I trained with Goku, I mean, who do you think taught him the Rasengan? It wasn't King Kai. He paused. It is King Kai who sent me here to help you guys deal with Frieza and get the Dragon Balls so that you can wish the others on his planet back to life. The others, Krillin said slowly. On his planet. Yamcha, Tien, Naruto listed. Chiaotzu and Piccolo, I think. Yeah, they all ended up there after they died. With Bubbles and Greg, that small planet's a bit crowded at the moment, so I decided to help you guys out, if only to see if these Dragon Ball things are legit. Then I guess Den was right about trusting you. Krillin stated, relaxing a bit. So I guess I will, for now. But that doesn't mean I won't keep my eye on you. I'd be surprised if you didn't. Naruto replied. He grinned a second later. Now then, where were we headed? Krillin quickly explained. Eventually, they came across a house sitting on a large mountain, and as they landed next to it and walked up to the door, the trio of Den, Krillin, and Naruto were greeted by a stern-looking Namekian. Huh. Krillin mused. This guy really looks like Piccolo. Halt. Off-worlders are forbidden from these sacred grounds. You will not go any further. Not Piccolo stated firmly before shifting to the small Namekian. Den. Why have you brought strangers to the Grand Elder? It is because of people like them that Namek is under siege. But they are not the ones threatening our planet, Nail Den states in response to the Namekian now identified as Nail. The one called Krillin saved my life, they're helping us deal with the people terrorizing our planet, but they needed to see the Grand Elder because they need his help. Well Nail. Let them through. Nail visibly twitched at being cut off and sighed before he did as ordered and motioned for the three to follow him. They did, and when they got to where not Piccolo was leading them, eyes widened at who they saw waiting for him. Hello. I am Guru and I welcome you, young travelers. Holy crap. Naruto exclaims. He's huge. He pauses. Well, I've seen bigger, but still. Hold your tongue, outsider. Nail barked at the blonde, appalled that someone would dare to say such a thing to the eldest and wisest being of planet Namek. You will only speak when required and show respect at all times to Lord Guru. Ease, Nail, he means no harm. Guru intones to his attendant because unlike his attendant, he wasn't offended by the comment aimed at his size. Now friend, tell me, why have you sought me out? We're here, Lord Guru sir, because we need that orange ball you have up there. Krillin explains, shakily, hoping that he didn't show that he was intimidated too much. You see, back on Earth, when the Saiyans attacked, a lot of our friends died, and that includes the creator of our Dragon Balls. We came here hoping that with your Dragon Balls, we can wish all of them back so that together, we can help you deal with the monster that's terrorizing your planet. It is indeed surprising that a set of Dragon Balls exist outside of Namek, Guru noted. He paused, however, and considered something. Your planet, you say that it is called Earth, am I correct? Krillin confirms it. So it would seem that the son of Kadit is passed. How unfortunate. Yes, young warrior, I will help you with your quest. Krillin perks at that. You really mean it. Indeed. Guru states. But first, come, stand beside me. If you are to help my people through this peril, then I must bestow upon you a tool that may help even the odds. Lord Guru, Nail protested, knowing what the elder was referring to. You don't mean. Yes, Nail, I do. Guru raised his hand. Now come, my young friend, so that I may place my hand on you. Krillin looked around and, after seeing a nod of acceptance from Dend and a double thumbs up from Naruto, moved to Guru. Okay. And shortly after he stepped to Guru's side and waited for the elder to place his hand on his head. Naruto's eyebrow raised at the jump in power he felt from the bald man. Whoa. He thought. That came from out of nowhere. Seconds later, Guru pulled his hand away from Krillin, and when he did, a small cough escaped his lips. Naruto quickly rushed to his side in concern. Are you okay? He asked. That looked like it took a lot out of you. Ease, my friend. Guru replied, trying to wave off the concern. For this is just a sign that I am reaching the end of my very long journey. The least I can do is help my children before I pass, and my gift to you is my way of doing just that. Well, if it means taking more out of your life force, then count me out. Naruto refused the offer. I'm plenty strong already, so I really don't need the boost, and as far as I'm concerned, you should be alive after your people survive and recover through this crisis. That's why I'm gonna help you out instead, old man. If you don't mind me asking, sir, Den spoke up. How are you going to do that? That's easy, my little green friend. Naruto raised his hand, and before everyone's eyes, a golden flame-like glove encased his fist. I'm gonna give him a few more extra years with you by shaving off some of my life force. But Krillin frowned. Won't that mean you'll die quicker? Indeed. Guru agreed. That is why I must ask that you refrain from your actions. I am old. It is just my time to pass. And I'm immortal. Naruto shot back, but he paused. Well, immortal in the sense that I've physically stopped aging. He took to the skies in flight and aimed his flaming hand at Guru's chest. I can still die, it's just going to be very hard to kill me, trust me on that, so shaving off a decade or two isn't an issue for me. Lord Guru, Nail spoke up after remaining silent for a while. Perhaps we should consider letting this outsider help if he can. He stated. Namek still needs your guidance and wisdom to help it prosper, especially after this crisis, and if the Dragon Balls need to work. Guru remained silent for a while and considered his options. You know, there's something I've noticed since I met you. Krillin states while he flies next to his blonde friend who he could now trust thanks to Guru's confirmation that was aided by the fact that he knew and trained with Goku on King Kai's planet. I can't seem to get a reading on your Kai. Why's that? Are you suppressing it now, or is it something else? You see, after some convincing from Nail and Dend, Guru decided to accept the offer by the blonde to extend his life force, and with that confirmation, Naruto did as advertised. Well, like I told Goku, your friends and the others who brought up the same thing shortly after they met me, Naruto stated. I have what's called God Kai, like what King Kai and other gods have. If you meet them, like me, you'll find out that you can't sense their Kai as well. God Kai? Krillin frowned. What's that? Like Kai that's exclusive to gods, or something? That's exactly it. Naruto stated, nodding. Plus it's something that normal people can't exactly have. Krillin especially noted how he couldn't feel Naruto's Kai as he did the task, so he didn't know if it was working until he saw the difference in the way the Namekian elder looked post the procedure as opposed to prior to the procedure, and he realized that Naruto did as promised. It was then and there that he decided the blonde could be trusted fully. And what does having it do? Krillin further probed. How's it different from normal Kai? Does that mean you're a god? 'Cause you don't exactly look like one. Gods come in different shapes and sizes. Naruto explained. Just like the people from Earth, there are some who are as short as you, hey. And finally, there are some who are fat. Don't expect us to all look the same or something. And as for how God Kai is different from normal Kai, well, that's something I can't exactly put into words, but when you see it in action, you'll know. As for Guru, who noted the difference as well with how much stronger and livelier he felt now as opposed to the last few years, as a way of thanks, rather than grant Naruto the same gift he gave Krillin, as he seemed opposed to that, the Namekian elder Guru shared some of his knowledge and experiences with the blonde after placing his hand on the blonde's head like he did so with Krillin. Knowledge on the Dragon Balls was part of that info gain. And shortly after thanking Guru for his help and his gift, Krillin decided to return to his hidden base to bring back the other two that came with him, Namek, so that like with him their potential can be unlocked. Guru agreed. That was why he was currently flying away from the Elder's place, not with Dend, but with Naruto, who he decided was a good guy thanks to Guru's confirmation and the fact that he helped the Elder out by sharing his life force with that of the Elders. If you say so. Krillin continued. In any case, with you around, at least we stand a chance against Frieza until Goku shows up. I know. Naruto grinned. And you're welcome. I didn't say thank you, Krillin deadpanned. Trust me little buddy, you will. The blue-eyed blonde looked ahead. Soon enough, you will. And as they flew on, the pair missed the attention they attracted. Well, at least one of the pair did. Eventually, the pair were able to spot the hideout as they flew. Well, there it is. Krillin stated. And it looks like Bulma couldn't take being cooked up in the cave. Bulma? Naruto asked, before spotting a really attractive female sitting on the rock in front of the cave with one leg crossed over the other and her eyes stuck on the book she held up to her chest. Oh, you mean her? Isn't what she's doing risky? I mean, they're jackasses running around, after all. Now that you mention it, Krillin frowned in thought. What she's doing is pretty stupid. Shortly after that, the two dropped in front the now identified Bulma, who let out a startled yelp at the sudden appearance of the duo. When she got up and spotted a familiar face, she snapped. What the hell, Krillin? The female identified as Bulma yells. Would you have to go and startle me like that? You're the one reading out in the open like that. Krillin pointed out. What if I was someone like Vegeta? Or some of those other mean guys running around? I really doubt they'd be as nice to you as Naruto and I are. Naruto? Bulma blinked. Who? Her world stopped as she finally laid eyes on the taller man standing next to Krillin. Yo. Naruto greeted with a hand wave and an eye smile. Nice to meet you, Bulma, was it? Krillin, meanwhile, looked around and frowned as he noticed that something was off. Hey, Bulma, he asked. Where's Gohan? Oh my gosh, he's so hot. Bulma mentally squealed, meanwhile, not even hearing the question aimed at her. I just want to grab him and… Hey, buddy. Naruto stated, pointing Krillin's attention to him. Yeah, I don't think she's listening. And as he saw where his friend was pointing, instantly, he saw what was said. Damn it, Bulma. Unfortunately for the martial artist, things were about to get worse because right as he finished that train of thought, a figure, one that was very familiar to Krillin, dropped from the sky. Honestly, I didn't expect to see you here, Earthlings. It was Vegeta. He's part of the reason that Krillin and his friends were even on Namek in the first place. You weren't advanced enough to make this kind of trip, or at least that's what I thought, and now, here you are, and will you look at that, the Prince of All Saiyans smirked. You have a Dragon Ball ready and waiting for me. How nice. Shit. Krillin muttered, protectively wrapping his hands around the Dragon Ball he held. I was too preoccupied to notice him flying after us. Wait, really? Naruto blinked at that. I mean, I picked up his Kai a while ago. It was way too difficult to miss. I'm surprised you didn't. Krillin looked up at his friend in shock. You mean you noticed and didn't tell me? He demands. Like I said, Naruto shrugged. I thought you picked it up when I did, so I didn't see the need to tell you. He paused. Though I guess that means you didn't pick up on the one following after that guy's as well. Wait, what? Krillin focused his senses. He cursed a second later. Damn it. Hey. Vegeta shouted, appearing visibly annoyed that the two in front of him were having a conversation and pretending that he wasn't there. When the Prince of All Saiyans stands before you, it is your duty to gaze upon his magnificence and awe. Magnificence. A new voice states in response to the obvious delusions of grandeur exhibited, and the attention of the deluded prince, along with Krillin and Naruto, were drawn to the new arrival. From you of all people, Vegeta. I wonder what Lord Frieza would have to say about that. Well, if it isn't Zarbon. Vegeta, meanwhile, smirked as he turned around to face the newcomer, Akka, the now identified as Zarbon. And here I was wondering why I picked up a stink of body glitter on my way here. I say. Zarbon crossed his hands over his chest and smirked back at the Saiyan. That's an interesting amount of confidence you have there, Prince. Is it that you might have forgotten what happened the last time you tried to challenge me? His eyes glanced to those behind Vegeta, then they shifted back to the prince, and his smirk widened. Or, are you trying to put on a brave face for your new friends over there? Naruto, meanwhile, blinked as he felt a pair of slender arms wrapped around him and a finger trail on his chest. Hey there, big guy, the name's Bulma. His eyes looked over to the source and saw Bulma looking up at him with a pair of bedroom eyes. And if I knew I was gonna meet someone as hot as you here on Namek, then I'd have left Earth years ago. Naruto tilted his head as she fluttered her eyelids at him. You're not gonna let these mean guys hurt me, right? She continued on with her flirty tone. Her hand, meanwhile, reached down to his crotch until she reached her prize and, very shamelessly, stroked and groped it. I promise to make it worth your while if you make sure I come out of this without a scratch. Fair deal, right? I mean, I was already going to do that, Naruto stated, shrugging, and visibly unreact to the fact that he was being basically jerked off by an attractive stranger. Regardless of whether or not you asked. So sure, I guess. Anyway, I think you should probably take some cover cuz I'm pretty sure things are about to get wild. Immediately after he said that, Vegeta charged at Zarbon. Bulma yelped and instantly took cover behind Naruto, however, in her hurry to hide, her eyes spotted the orange orb Krillin held. Oh, wow, is that what the Dragon Ball here's like? She states, catching the attention of the bald martial artist. They're almost as big as my head. And a lot bigger than the ones we have back on Earth. Trust me, that's the same thing I thought when I found them. Krillin replied, looking at the ball in his hands. But then I realized that if they're this big then that must mean that they're probably a lot stronger than the ones Kami made, right? Probably. Bulma suggested. Or, maybe they're just as strong and they're only this big cause of aesthetics. That's something we could consider. You wanna know what I think? Bulma and Krillin turned to the spiky-haired blonde. I think that it's funny that either of you are talking so casually when a fight like that Naruto thumped to Vegeta and Zarbon facing off in the sky is going on. You're right. Krillin states as he watched a Saiyan fight the odd-looking alien. We better get somewhere safe while Vegeta's distracted and too busy to notice us. Maybe you should go somewhere safe. Bulma draped herself on Naruto. I don't need to cuz I've got tall, blonde and handsome around to protect me. Except I can't do that and fight at the same time. Naruto looked down at the engineer. You go with him. Stay hidden. I'll get this Vegeta guy off your back and catch up with you later if he decides to be a beep. You heard the man. Krillin grabbed Bulma's hand. Let's go. What the and is for Bulma? Well, she suddenly found herself being pulled against her will against a stronger force. Hey, let me go, Krillin. Vegeta heard the distressed cry and looked at the ground after knocking Zarbon down and saw the bald martial artist trying to flee with the protesting Bulma. Like hell I'd let you. He fired a flurry of Kai projectiles at the pair in order to stop their progress, but before they could hit their targets, they were all easily deflected by the blue-eyed man that was with them. The eyes of the Saiyan prince narrowed at this. Well hell. Zarbon, as the prince was distracted, appeared behind said prince and blasted him with his own Kai blast. You should count yourself lucky that Frieza wants you alive, Vegeta. The soldier commented. Because if it were up to me, that last attack would have cost you your life. His eyes shifted to what caught Vegeta's attention, but before they could lock onto it, a fist kissed his face. Naruto was the owner of that fist. Eyes up, pretty boy. And, with a smirk, the blonde popped his knuckles and slammed them into an open palm. Vegeta isn't the only bastard you have to worry about. Zarbon spat out a wad of blood and fixed his jaw. You're new, a friend of Vegeta, perhaps. The soldier of Frieza states. He wishes. Naruto snorts. I'm here to make sure people like you guys don't have your way on Namek. You think you can stand in the way of Lord Frieza? Zarbon rolled his eyes. Please, Lord Frieza's supreme power is second to none in the entire universe. For now Vegeta's voice states from behind Zarbon, and before the visibly shocked alien could even react a hand was stabbed through his chest, causing him to cough out a wad of blood. Seconds later, the prince pulled out his bloody hand and cupped them over his head with his other. But when I get my wish, that position will belong to me and me alone. Gallic gunfire. Zarbon didn't even get a chance to bargain for his life as a wave of purple energy destroyed it completely. Vegeta smirks as the light from his attack dies down and Zarbon was nowhere to be seen. Was that attack supposed to do something to me? The prince froze as his eyes saw a relatively unharmed blonde standing in front of him, picking his nose. Well, I'm obviously still here, so sorry to break it to you buddy, but it failed. He flicked the booger he picked away from him and smirked. It did kill the pretty boy, so good job, I guess. And at the mockery aimed at him both visibly and verbally, Vegeta twitched as every fiber of his being was telling him to physically lash out at the blonde bastard whose power level was somehow completely invisible to his senses. That was the reason he stopped himself from lashing out. The blonde bastard could be a lot stronger than he was and was just hiding his Kai for all he knew as not only was he able to block his attack from earlier, the bastard was able to tank his ultimate attack and come out unscratched and he didn't want to put himself in a situation where he would find himself needing a healing pot under the control of Frieza. He was going to approach this man carefully. Fine. Vegeta crossed his hands over his chest. I'll admit that you're a lot stronger than the waste of space on this planet. Most of them, anyway. Naruto tilted his head. That includes you, right? He teases. The large vein throbbed visibly on Vegeta's forehead, but he restrained himself. Ignoring that the prince grunted. I propose a truce. He continued. with yours and my power combined, together we can not only take on any forces in our way as we gather the Dragon Balls, we can also make sure the likes of Frieza won't live to threaten anyone with his power ever again, and after I claim my place as the true supreme power of the universe. I'll make sure you're handsomely rewarded with the position of my right hand. I'll admit, that does sound nice, Naruto hummed. And I may have had aspirations of ruling over a bunch of people when I was younger, but what kid hasn't? Plus, that's something I grew past when I figured out the why of that particular dream. He explained. So yeah, the whole galactic domination thing. I'm gonna have to turn you down on that. I like where I am right now. Where you are right now? Vegeta replied, tensing up. That's nothing to where you could be as my right-hand man. Think about it, he further goaded. The glory, the adoration, the respect, all that can be yours. Ours. All you have to do is take up the offer I graciously gave you. I'm X3 champion of the Otherworld tournament, right here. Naruto deadpanned, thumbing to himself. Already have all the fame, adoration and respect I'll ever need. Why would I need more? Sorry body, but you're gonna have to find someone else to sell that pitch to. Fine then. If you're not with me, then you're against me. Vegeta stated, unfolding his hands. And like the others who went against me today, that mistake is something you're going to pay for with your life. With that, the Saiyan prince charged at the blonde god. Krillin and Bulma, meanwhile, watched as Vegeta tried and failed to attack the blonde. Holy crap, Vegeta's being treated like he's nothing, the bald martial artist says. This Naruto guy's really strong. Wow. If he's this amazing, then I guess now I can see why Goku was so strong when he came back to Earth and nearly matched Vegeta's strength. I'd probably be too if I had a training partner like him for 8 months. Big, strong and handsome. Bulma gushed, clasping her two hands together and resting it on her cheek. And the way he's just playing with Vegeta like a bitch, such a stud. Mom is definitely keeping him. You might want to tone it down a bit, Bulma, I can see you drooling. Krillin deadpanned. And besides, aren't we here to bring back Yamcha? You know, your boyfriend. Who? Bulma blinked. She then remembered what he said. Oh, Yamcha, and I broke up long before he died. He decided those floozies that flocked to him cause of his baseball thing were a lot better to hang out with than me. I mean, can you believe that? Ugh. That microbeat jackass wasn't even all that good in bed. Needed me to guide him, and even then, he still sucked. Suddenly she slapped her hands on her mouth and sent a wide-eyed stare at Krillin. Krillin looked back at Bulma with shock written all over his face. And finally, with Gohan. I can't believe I found 6 Dragon Balls for the price of 1. The hybrid Saiyan thought as 5 Dragon Balls floated behind him while he held the 6th. Talk about a lucky break. Hang on, Mr. Piccolo, you're gonna be wished back really soon. Krillin and Bulma, startled, jumped at the sudden appearance of the blue-eyed blonde in front of him. Yo. Naruto greets with a single hand wave. How's it going? How's it going? Krillin returned in surprise. How's it going? You just wiped out Vegeta easily, and this is the same Vegeta who Goku barely won against. The same Vegeta my friends fought against and died, and they're some of the strongest people I know. How strong are you? I don't know, Naruto shrugs. Pretty strong, I guess. I mean, I'm sure I can take on most people on this planet, including this Frieza. Vegeta. Sure, especially with how easy you made it look, Krillin replied, agreeing with at least that part of the conversation. But Frieza. I may not be able to sense your Kai, so I can't tell how strong you really are, but Frieza's in a whole other ballpark, and I know that what I felt is only a drop in the ocean of what he probably has in reserve. I doubt there's anyone on this planet that could take him. He says he can take him, Krillin, and after what we saw him do to Vegeta, I say we should believe him. Bulma defended, annoyed at the shorter male's lack of faith. She then looked at the unconscious body of the prince and frowned. Speaking of which, what are we going to do with him? Leave him there for someone to find. Oh, Naruto grinned. Leave that to me. But that said, he then brought his right hand up to his chest and materialized a small scroll from out of nothing, an action that startled the two watching, and, ignoring the expressions he received from the two earthlings, he suddenly appeared next to the knocked-out body, tapped it with the scroll's tip. And watched as the body of the Saiyan prince almost 1 second later was sucked up and vanished. There, done. Naruto says with a wide smirk after appearing in front of the still shocked Bulma and Krillin with the purple scroll, now containing Vegeta's body, in his hand. No need to worry about what happens to Vegeta's body now. Krillin and Bulma stared, You're wondering what just happened, aren't ya? Naruto understood immediately, and at the nod he received, he continued. That's easy. I just sealed Vegeta's body in this scroll here so that I'd know where it is at all times. With that, he flicked his fingers and the scroll disappeared. I wouldn't think hard about it. It's just a technique I got from home and improved on. Well, aren't you just full of surprises, big guy? Bulma grinned at the spiky-haired blonde. Well, I don't mind. It just means that there's more for me to find out. Speaking of surprises, Naruto tilted his head in a seemingly random direction. There's someone flying this way at incredible speeds with a Kai signature very similar to Goku's, and I'd say just about the same strength as you. He was looking down at the shorter male as he spoke. Anyone you know? Similar to Goku? That's Gohan. Wait, Krillin, stopping before he finished his sentence, shot the spiky-haired blonde a narrowed eye look. Just about the same strength as me. But he's just a kid and I had my potential unlocked by Guru. I'm not Yamcha, god damn it. Don't look at me, little guy. Naruto shrugged, mentally cackling loudly at the diss to the black-haired male on King Kai's planet. I'm just stating it as it is. And, before Krillin could respond to that, a child in a bowl cut, wearing a purple sleeveless guy with a red sash around its waist and a pair of brown pointed shoes, appeared and landed next to Bulma, Naruto, and the bald martial artist. Hey guys, guess what? This new arrival was none other than Gohan. He stopped before he could finish his sentence, and as he noticed the unfamiliar blonde. Hello. Sup little guy. Naruto greeted with an eye smile and a single hand wave. How's it going? Gohan looked towards Krillin who smiled and replied, relax Gohan, he's with us. Gohan, huh? Naruto grinned, finally realizing why the Kai felt so familiar. He then crouched down to meet the boy's cold eyes. Yeah, I can definitely see the similarities, you're Goku's kid, eh? Yes. Gohan blinked, tilting his head in confusion. You know my dad. Mr. Naruto. The blue-eyed blonde replied. Naruto Uzumaki, and yeah I do. We got to know each other a while back. You know, he won't stop talking about you when he was training with me back in King Kai's place. All you need to know is that he's on our side and he effortlessly took on Vegeta and came out on top with no scratches, a win-win for us. Krillin states to the half-breed Saiyan. But we have more important things to focus on right now, so worry about that later. Right. Gohan nodded resolutely after a little moment of hesitation before facing the blue-eyed blonde, placing his hands together and politely bowing. His mother instructed him to do this when meeting new people. Pleased to meet you Mr. Naruto, I'm son Gohan, I hope we can be good friends. Ditto, kid. Naruto replied, amused at how different from his father Gohan was. And trust me, the pleasure's all mine. And it was at that moment that Gohan noticed something else. Krillin-san, he states, catching the martial artist's attention. You're a lot stronger than when we got here. What happened? Before that, where's the Dragon Ball, Gohan? Bulma interrupted Krillin before he was about to answer. Weren't you able to find it with the radar? Oh, thanks for reminding me Bulma, I did. Gohan grinned excitedly. But guess what? I found 5 of the other Dragon Balls unattended, too. Krillin's eyes bulged in excitement. Really? You. Gohan nodded, the speed of which showed that his excitement was ever growing. I hid them nearby so that someone wouldn't happen to see me flying with them by accident. We're one step closer to getting our wish, guys. What do you mean one step closer? We have all 7. Bulma whooped excitedly. Krillin was able to find a Dragon Ball where he took the Namekian kid. Finally. And here I thought we won't get anywhere with the things going on with this planet. All 7. Gohan blinked. Krillin, you found a Dragon Ball? Yup. Krillin boasted, thumbing his nose. And that's not the only thing I got from there. He grins. You asked why I got stronger. Well, that's why. Guru has this special technique that allows him to bring out the latent potential of anyone he wants to, which reminds me, here, he gained a serious look. Gohan, Bulma, we need to get you guys to Guru's place as soon as possible, and Goku too when he gets here. I can help with that. Naruto states, drawing the attention of the Earthlings back to him. At least, now that I know where to look properly I can teleport you guys to Guru's place in an instant. Heck, I can probably teleport Goku from wherever he is to Namek if you guys want him to be here as quickly as possible. Wait, you can teleport? Krillin blinked. He frowned, seconds later. If you could do that, then why didn't you teleport me and Den to the Elder's place? Heck, why didn't you teleport me to Bulma when we were done with Guru? 1. You didn't ask. Naruto pointed out, and that earned him a sheepish look from the martial artist. And 2, like I said before, I need to know where I'm going or have a presence to lock onto, if I want to be precise. Oh, Krillin scratched the back of his head and looked away sheepishly. Right. So, what are we gonna do? Bulma asked. We have all 7 Dragon Balls. We can make our wish as soon as we want or we go to this Guru's place to have our, potential unlocked. I still don't know how that works. Trust me, you'll understand once it happens to you. Krillin stated. I say we have our potential unlocked. The Dragon Balls are safe and Frieza doesn't have a way to track them. Last time, he needed to interrogate the villages to get the balls. He doesn't have that now and we have both the Dragon Balls and the Dragon Radar as far as I'm concerned, we're safe. Just for that, if something happens, I'm blaming you. Bulma deadpanned. She looked at Gohan. What about you, kid? Potential or wish? Well, I want what Krillin got, Gohan stated in response. It looks like it'll help in the long run. So I'll go for potential, please. 2 out of 4, Bulma shrugged. And with me leaning on the former, I guess that means we go to Guru's. So big guy, you're up. Got it? Naruto placed the index and middle finger of his right hand on his forehead. All you gotta do is place your hand on me. I'll handle the rest. Gohan and Krillin rested their hands on Naruto's leg and back. Bulma threw her hands around his neck and flushed her tits on his chest with a smirk, the blonde blinked. Not exactly what I said, but that works too. A second later, the four vanished. Somewhere else on the planet, meanwhile, as our heroes moved to Guru's place, a certain space emperor stood in front of the see-through glass of his ship. Run as hard as you can, Prince Vegeta. He held a glass of fine wine to his chest, and as he admired the view of the soon-to-be dead planet with 3 suns from the hull damage done to his ship by the rogue prince, he took a sip of his very expensive drink. Because when the Ginyu Force arrives with my new special scouters, your life will be forfeit, regardless of how useful you may have been to me over the years. I'm not about to let you get in my way for my wish. And as he continued mulling to himself, his attention was caught by specks of light, 5 of them, that caused him to smirk. Speak of the devil. He paused. Or, in this case, I guess I should say devils. With that, he finished his drink and left his current quarters. Moments later, the Emperor was seen floating out of his ship as 5 individuals, accompanied by background music, landed in front of him and on the roof of his ship. Then, one shouted. Introductions. Then he does a pose, Ginyu. Jice. Another replies, a third poses and replies, Birder. Uldo. The fourth posed, and the fifth replied, Rikum. And together, we are at once, the group snapped to a well-rehearsed group pose and shouted, in unison. Sanju. Ginyu Taki Sentai. The background theme ended after that, and from his hover chair, as he watched the display, the Space Emperor couldn't help but blush in embarrassment. At the same time, a massive drop of sweat dripped on his forehead. Lord Frieza, Ginyu bowed respectively, before approaching the Emperor. Thank you for this chance to serve you. Then bust some heads. Rikum roared, with Ginyu nodding and replying, quite, but before we go down to business, Jice. Yes sir, Captain. Jice stood in attention before walking over to the Emperor, now identified as Frieza, with a briefcase in his hand and presenting it. Here you go, Lord Frieza. The new up-to-date scouters. Good. Frieza nodded before putting it on. And does it have the new ringtone I ordered? Ginyu puffs his chest, yes sir. And presses a button on his scouter. The Emperor's scouter starts playing F by Maximum the Hormone, with a text that reads incoming call from. Ginyu printed on it. Glorious. Frieza smirks. Now then, as you have been informed, Vegeta and a few other pests have taken my Dragon Balls, and it turns out Zarbon and Dodoria weren't enough. I've called you 5 here to get them back. Easy enough. Ginyu nodded. Would you rather them dead or alive? Frieza either or. Shrugs dismissively. That it is. Ginyu grins before he turns to his men. Ginyu Force. Assemble. The Ginyu Force huddles up and performs a warm-up routine. Speed of light and strength of all, the Ginyu Force shall make them fall. Lord King Cold's army's strongest force will rid them all, secure the course, and if trouble meets us as we pass we'll shove our fists right up their ass. The Ginyu Force stands in a line and pumps out their fists in unison. Ginyu Force, and as Captain Ginyu calls out to his team, his men replied, move out. With that, they shot to the air at once, leaving Frieza to watch them depart in his lonesome. Seconds later, F by Maximum the Hormone starts playing again, and the Emperor smirks as listen to the tune. Back with our heroes, after getting over the shock and Guru's change in appearance, Krillin and Naruto were the ones shocked, because compared to the towering massive bulk they had met earlier, the elder who greeted them in their second arrival was an athletically built, muscular, youngish looking giant of a man. Gohan and Bulma were presented to Guru, and as he'd promised Krillin, he unlocked the potential of the two, but unlike with the bald martial artist earlier, when Guru unlocked the potential of Bulma and Gohan at the same time thanks to his godly enhancement, he was able to pull the said potential to its very limit. He did the same with Krillin once he was done with Bulma and Gohan. Naruto once again refused the offer to have his potential unlocked. With a smile on his face, Guru accepted Naruto's refusal. However, with a heavy heart he revealed to the Earthlings that 5 extremely powerful power levels had arrived on the planet and would likely seek them out. Krillin and Gohan were terrified by this, and even more when they felt the Kai Guru picked up. Then suggested that they quickly make a wish on the Dragon Balls, since that's what the bad guys are obviously here for, and Krillin eagerly agreed to this. In response to this, Naruto was about to teleport everyone away, but before he could, an idea flashed on the center of his mind. What if I cloaked us? Naruto suggested to the group. I mean these guys, using whatever means they have, can track you, specifically your Kai. Mortal Kai. He stated. But I'm willing to bet they don't have the tech to track my Kai. What if I used it to essentially give you guys a layer of cloak that'll allow you to move about as freely as you please? That's if they don't have other senses to track you, and such. On behalf of what is left of my people, I am going to have to unfortunately decline your offer. Nail firmly replied, speaking up before his elder could. Accepting any more help from an outsider only further emphasizes that we are unable to take care of our problems ourselves, and as the last of the warrior Namekians, I refuse to let that be the case. Except, accepting help from others is also a way of taking care of your problems. Bulma crossed her hands and stood next to Naruto as she was speaking. Do you really want your entire species to die because of pride? That's pretty stupid, if you ask me. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Naruto added, nodding in agreement. Besides, there's still the fact that there's 5 of them, and one of you sure you can maybe take 1 or 2 of them no problem, but what about the rest? And note that that's if they don't choose to gang up on you, and this is still ignoring the fact that Frieza guy doesn't show up on a whim and decide to just take you out. I say go for it. Krillin suggested, with Gohan agreeing. I mean, you already have living proof that the idea has merit. The martial artist motioned to Elder Guru. And if everything went as planned, then we'll have more fighters to deal with Frieza and make sure people like him won't bother you guys again. He stated. Seeing as we'd be using the Dragon Balls to wish back all those killed by Frieza and everyone who ever worked under him, and that includes the Namekians who died. Nail was briefly lost in his thoughts. He looked to the Namekian elder for guidance shortly thereafter. Lord Guru, the younger Namekian states. What do you suggest? Nail, Guru replied. I have seen the hearts and minds of the outsiders, they are unlike the people attacking our home. They wish to help us. He paused. And it is true that you are the strongest of our people, our number 1 son, but these forces that have brought doom to our world, even with the gift of your potential unlocked, they are too much for you to deal with on your own. I believe you know the answer to your question, my son. Plus, Gohan added. Sorry if I'm sounding rude, but the more time we waste here, the more time those guys get here, and the more time we don't get to make our wish. Nail took a deep breath and sighed. My duty is to protect Namek and its people. He decided. And, if accepting help from you will provide the best outcome, then that is what I will do despite my instincts wanting me to do otherwise. Good. Naruto stretched his right hand into a fist. Now. 5-way fist bump. After a moment of confused hesitation, Krillin, Dend, Gohan, Bulma and Nail did as directed, and a second later, after the blonde closed his eyes and concentrated, a fiery flash of bright light encased the room. The scouters on the faces of the Jinyu force beeped, and in response, they stopped mid-flight and hovered in the air. This is rather. Jinyu frowned at the development. Unsettling. They all just vanished. Berter stated, as confused as the others. What do you think happened? No idea, mate. Jais replied. But I reckon this'll make our mission harder to complete. What should we do, Captain? Dildo asked. Report this to Frieza, or? There is no doubt that Lord Frieza already knows about this development. Jinyu decided. Even more so thanks to the technology of a basic scouter, it would be rather pointless to go to him and report this new development. What we should do is instead continue on our mission. We shouldn't let a small issue like this distract us from it, should we, men? And following a chorus of no, Captain. From his men, Jinyu relayed his new plan. Back with our heroes, the recipients of the foreign Kai currently wore varied degrees of shock and awe expressed on their faces because of the silver sheen of energy wrapped around their body, and as they experienced this, words couldn't even begin to describe what they felt. Even Bulma, who, even with her increased intelligence, couldn't still sense Kai in general. Especially the one that was covering her entire being. Whoa, the engineer thought. Is this what having access to the stuff these guys feel like? Well, maybe should consider having Goku teach me a thing or two about this stuff, or maybe I should just ask Shenron. Oh, wow. Krillin exclaimed in his mind. I thought God Kai would feel like normal Kai but slightly different, but this is wow. He looked at the blonde. Is this what he feels all the time? No wonder he's so confident. He clenched his fists. I'd be too if I had this all the time. Heck, with the extra boost I got from Guru and now this, I feel like I can take on anyone. Heck, even Goku. Friends, Guru brought them all back to reality, however. I must remind you all that time is of the essence. Guru's right. Naruto firmly stated, shaking everyone out of their stupor. Yes, the plan worked in hiding from the senses of whatever they were using to track us, but judging from what I can sense, one of them is still heading in this direction, no doubt to find out why the powers they were feeling suddenly disappeared, which means we have to move quickly. Then you and your Earthling friend should go, right now. Nail replied. Because I am more than capable of dealing with this threat and making sure that Guru is safe, you should take Dend as well just to make sure he's safe. But Neil, I want to stay here with you and Lord Guru. Dend protested. I can help. Dend, no. Neil knelt down to meet the eyes of the younger, smaller Namekian. These people I am going to fight are dangerous, and I would need to focus all my attention on them if I am to come out of this alive. I can't do that if I am also keeping you safe. What about Guru? Bulma pointed out. Because by your logic, he should come with us, seeing as even if Dend isn't around, you'll still need to focus on keeping him, Guru, safe, and that splits your attention. I agree, Nail. Dend added, that is why. Then Guru cut in, drawing the attention to him. The powers of Purunga will be needed if our planet is to live beyond this day. He stated, and the Earthlings cannot have that if they do not have access to someone who can summon him from the Dragon Balls. You are the last son of the Namekian Dragon clan, thus I see none more fitting for the task than you, my child. But, Elder Guru, what about you? Dend retorts. Your life is linked with the dragon, if you fall, it falls too. Remaining here with Nail only puts you and our entire goal at risk. Guru simply smiled and folded his hands on his back. Do not worry about me, my child. The Namekian elder stated. Now go. Summon the dragon and bring back your friends and those who have lost their lives today. I'll make sure he comes out of this alive. Naruto states, walking up to Dend and placing a hand on the shoulder of the young Namekian shoulder. You can count on me, believe it. Guru smiled and thanked Naruto after Nail said his goodbye to the young Namekian before watching as the Earthlings all placed their hands on Naruto and disappeared in the same way they appeared. Lord Guru, Nail stated. Why did you stay? Because, Nail, the Namekian elder walked up to the younger Namekian. There is one more gift I wish to pass on to you. Nail simply blinks in confusion. The group watches as, with Vegeta, Naruto seals the 7 Dragon Balls in a scroll. There. The blonde stated. Now. However, he stopped and looked at the direction of Guru's place before he completed his sentence. Seconds later, memories flashed in his mind. Looks like it was a good idea to leave a clone or two behind to make sure things didn't go south, Naruto mused in thought. But still Fusion didn't think the Namekians had their own version of that. Naruto. The blonde was pulled out of his thoughts and glanced down at Krillin. Is everything alright? Did something happen? Nothing to worry about. Naruto dispersed the Dragon Ball scroll with a hand wave. Now let's get out of here and someplace far away if we want to make those wishes. And once more, after placing their hands on the blonde, the group vanishes. In an unknown location. Naruto, currently floating in a void of nothing but white, with wisps of silver whooshing around, locked his eyes at the pair of spheres before him. So that's what you are, huh? They were planet-sized. Dragon Balls but on a planet-sized scale. I wonder what kind of person made you, and how big your dragon really is. Judging by the fact that you're practically the size of a planet and I've seen the size of a dragon relative to the Dragon Balls, I'm guessing pretty big and probably scary. The blonde grinned. On the plus side, thanks to you guys, it looks like I'm gonna have a pretty awesome set of Dragon Balls. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.